beyond the distractions. I want to talk to you about something that is very, very, very important, that is going to help you, okay? And something that I was thinking about that I think that everybody to some degree or another has to deal with. And in my opinion, I don't think many people are dealing with it well. And so, first of all, let me say that this is going to vary person to person, exposure to exposure, level of influence to level of influence, responsibility, blah, 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 blah. It's going to differ. It's going to vary. But some of the principles you may be able to extract from my rant, you may find applicable to your particular story and scenario. There is something, Tavares, I miss you. And tell Stephanie I said happy belated birthday. There is something that you must resolve when you become a visible person. So that is, if your career necessitates a level of visibility, if your ministry necessitates a level of visibility, if your job, if your talent, if your gift, whatever you do and whatever God has called you to do that ends up bringing a level of visibility to you, one of the things that you need to be prepared to conceptualize is people have opinions. You have and have had opinions. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that people don't really know how to process and how to really handle people's opinions when it's directed towards them. So, you know, you may learn of somebody's opinion of you, or you may perceive somebody's opinion of you, or hear about somebody's opinion of you, and you may end up almost incubating it in your heart, and it can bear destructive fruit because you don't really know what to do with how people feel about who you are or what you're doing or where you're going. So I want you to prepare your mind to think on this wise. Number one is that the only way to prevent, to stop a person, a people, a crowd from having an opinion about you is to disappear. That is the only way to stop it. The only way for you to prevent a person, a people, a crowd, or an audience from having an opinion about you is to literally disappear. There is nothing within your power that you can do to prevent or stop or even know all of the opinions that may float around the world, social network, text messages, conversations, memes, whatever about you. So this is something you've either got to accept or you've got to be destroyed by it. You've got to accept it. To avoid having or people have an opinion about me, I've just got to live my entire life in my closet. For most of us, that's not possible to do. So you've got to find a way how to live your life, work, grind, push, build, and all of the things you need to do, and develop tools for how to handle when you have heard, when you have learned, when you have experienced somebody's opinion of you. And but there's a scripture that I put up, I believe it's Psalms chapter 29, that ministered to me today, and because I'm always interested in what God coaches men, the wisdom that God gives men who he makes visible. And the scripture that I learned today in Proverbs 29 says that the fear of men brings a snare. And the word snare means a trap. It means a sabotage. It means a prison. And it talks about how the ability of people to control you by what they feel about you, by what they think about you, by how they assess you, by their criticism of you. When you devote your energy to that, then what happens is you have also sentenced yourself to a level of imprisonment and a level of confinement. It's very restricting to be concerned with people's views, opinions, etc. about you and what's going on with you. So the first thing you've got to realize is there is absolutely nothing you can do as long as you are bound with the fear of man. The fear of man is basically translated as the fear of man's ability, the fear of man's opinion, the fear of man's word. So you've got to be very cautious that you don't allow the fear of man to trap you. Another thing you need to realize is our culture is kind of immersed in the pressures of not necessarily self-examination, but examination from the public eye. I mean, you think about all of the things that really controls a lot of your days. Social networking. This is the season where at a rate faster than what you know, people are coming up with more profound ways to connect on internet socially. And probably in about the next 15 years, we're going to have more powerful social resources that's probably going to catapult the monopoly of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, etc. But if you think about what ends up garnering a lot of your day, you end up finding out that you really exposed yourself to a life of social examination and social critique. You know, you put pictures of your breakfast on Instagram, pictures of your weight loss goals, you put before and afters of you know, what you look like before you started training your waist. I mean, if you, whatever you do, if you're in a natural hair family, you do length checks, you know, and so you kind of expose yourself to social examination and social critique. And what I'm finding is when you put stuff like that on the public, then you also, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, I guess, but when you put stuff like that on the public, you can't be affected when the public responds. And they don't necessarily respond to your favor or to your liking, or they respond in a way that disturbs you, or they respond in a way that unsettles you, or they respond in a way that offends you or hurts you. So again, because of our culture, you are constantly pushed to public scrutiny. But it is at the point, and it is to the extent that public scrutiny has an effect on your identity, that we have a more profound problem. Because here's a challenge. People should be able to type, to text, to tweet, whatever they want, and it have little to no effect on you. Now, I get it. Sometimes there can be heinous accusations, ludicrous statements made about you. I mean, sometimes it's just purebred evil, what people can say. But it's at the point when you can't classify those accusations, those statements, those opinions, those criticisms or whatever, and put them and confine them to where they belong, that the real problem is not what people are doing or not what people are saying. The real problem is what is still open in your heart that allows for that stuff to bear as much weight as it does. You know, if somebody makes a false accusation or a criticism of you, or I don't like your clothes, or I don't like your look, or I don't like the name of you, whatever, you should be able to maturely handle hearing that and not allow that or the strength or the energy of that to affect you adversely, particularly if you are secure. But I'm going to tell you why that hits us. Most people that I encounter are on a major deficiency from healthy affirmation and healthy words and relationships that strengthened their own personal views of themselves. For example, if you don't have healthy friendships, there's a realm of affirmation you're going to lack. If you don't have a mentor or a teacher, there's a realm of affirmation that you're going to lack. If you are not pastored properly, there's a realm of security and a realm of affirmation that you're going to go without. So when you go without those consistent streams of affirmation, particularly directed to the areas of your life that, dare I say, hell or people or whatever has been committed to tearing away, then when people speak and when people say their opinions and when people demonstrate their ideas of you, either directly or indirectly, because, you know, one of the things that we lost when we became a social network culture, one of the things that we lost was courage. We became strong cowards. You know, we screenshot stuff, we text stuff, we tweet. We became a very indirect people and a people that's very implicatory in what we feel, because we have the aid of social networkings to kind of be like the barricade between our real heart and what we really have the courage or the chutzpah or the insert here word to say. It's called keyboard bandits. But because you can't deal with and you can't take the responsibility of tapering, of altering, or of being responsible for what people think about you. What your resolve should be to do is to make sure that, number one, their accusations have no merit and they are not true. Okay? Because some people might be jealous, some people might be bored, some people most may be insecure, but some of them might be telling the truth. You know, if you appear like you're a whoremonger, or you've got some questionable things going on around your life and your work or whatever, then I don't know that I would shut down all of those criticisms, because they may have some validity to it. All of them are not hating. Some of these people may be actually telling the truth. But let's say that's not your majority and that's not your experience. Let's say you are just becoming visible. Things are happening for you in your world. Things are going on for you, and you're just becoming increasingly more visible. You got a new promotion at your job. You got a new promotion at home. You recently got married, or whatever. You released a book, or you released a CD, and you released a record. A realm of visibility has opened up, which opens you up to a new realm of public scrutiny. What we've got to make sure is that you are resolved enough in who you are and where you're going, that people's words have no power to alter your direction or no power to alter your view of yourself. The problem is most people are more insecure than what they are willing to admit. And so because of that, they put themselves out there for public scrutiny, and then their insecurities are triggered by wanting to know that everybody likes me, everybody agrees with what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. So what I don't want you to do is ever take the responsibility of fixing what people think about you. Particularly, forgive my bluntness, if they are non-factors. If these are not friends, if these are not covenant partners, these are not people that God has assigned to you, then ultimately you've got to train yourself to legitimately evict out of your space all of the opinions, all of the words, all of the thoughts, all of the criticisms of people who really have no role to play in your restoration, your redemption, or your assignment. You just kind of classify it where it does. But when that starts having weight, when non-factors start having weight, and well, wait a minute, am I worth it? Am I good enough? Do I look like that? Do I feel like that? Do I behave that way? Do I sound that way? Whatever. What you've done is you have given people an authority over you, and I'm going to tell you the most dangerous risk. When you give those people that type of license in your heart, you actually obstruct God's ability to reach you, because when you're bound with the fear of man, you are more responsive to crowds than you are the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God can be trying to reach for you and reach for you and reach for you in an area to fix it, to blow on it, to heal it, to convict you about it for years, and you may not respond. Let the right Facebook status be wrote about you, the right meme, the right picture, the right sly comment on Instagram, the right blog, you know, if you're like me, the right YouTube. Let the right any of that happen. And it may trigger the exact same thing that the Holy Spirit has been trying to bring your attention to. And maybe the Holy Spirit is trying to bring your attention to it for one reason, and people are criticizing it for another, but it's the same exact area. What will happen is, now, because you're sensitive and that's a fragile area for you, you will be more responsive because somebody criticized it than you were when God tried to deal with you about it. So it would do you well overall to get rid of the fear of man. I'm not talking about being rebellious, and I'm not talking about being arrogant or boastful or pride. I'm not talking about acting like you don't need anybody. But the harsh truth is, you do need some people, but you don't need everybody. They would be it would be nice to have them, I guess, but in the grand scheme of where you're going, they're not essentials. You don't really need to be fueled by the views of people who have had no contribution to who you are or where you're going. So you've got to be better prepared to handle the pressures of public scrutiny and know where to put it when you hear it. You need to let that stuff stop here and not get here. Most people see it, read it, hear about it, and it hits them here. Well, why would you say that? That makes no sense. I've never done nothing to you. What? Why would you accuse me of that? Huh? Does it make sense? Who do you think you are? Are you jealous? It hits here. And an ideal process is stop it here. But when this goes from here to here, then you've got a problem. And the problem is, once it's become a part of your heart, it's now going to start dictating reactions, behaviors. It's going to start building fears, because fear is not just a mind thing. I believe fear starts in the heart and expresses itself through the mind and in the thoughts. So stop it in the head. You have the right to ask questions. You know, Jesus said, be angry, but sin not. You can be like, oh, that's stupid. I'll just say that. You're an idiot. Whatever your response is going to be. But don't let it get to the heart, because once that stuff gets to the heart, then it's going to flow out of your responses in life to people. It's the primary reason why people in your future are being blamed for what people in your past have done to you. It's because you didn't understand how to separate the head-heart dynamic. You can think about it, but give yourself a limit on when to think about it, and don't allow it to become a part of your daily process. So don't punish people that are in your future for the stuff that people in your past have done. And a part of what you've got to do is not become callous, don't become hard-hearted, don't become proud, don't become egotistical, don't become narcissistic. Just learn how to appropriately insulate yourself from the pressure of public opinion and highlight, okay, designate unbiased, objective, wise people who you're going to license their opinion to matter. So you really are in control of this process. A part of what makes this scary is that you really don't believe that you are in control of the opinions that you need. And there are some people you may need their opinions. You want their opinions, but it's not going to be 100% of the world's population. You may have 3% that you actually need their opinion on to make sure that you have a sounding board, a critical voice or word or whatever, but you're in control of the process. Why don't you do this? Ask the Lord to highlight, and then you assign the people in your life, in your friendships, in your relationships, your superiors, who you license to articulate their opinions about who you are, your character, what you do, even the presentation of what you do, whatever. Assign them. When you assign them and you engage with them and they have free reign to tell you stuff, then you already have a healthy dose of wisdom, critique, whatever, that comes from people that you know are doing it because they're motivated, because they love you, and not because they're jealous of you, and not because you look better than them, and not because they're intimidated by your marriage, or intimidated by your degree or the money you make, whatever. So the way you control it is you assign people that you give the right to give you that information, so that all of the random people don't really have as much weight. But I'm going to tell you, when public opinion hits you, when it hits you hard and almost takes you out, it's because you don't get enough of that from a healthy squad and a healthy life team and a healthy destiny team around you. So of course, I mean, that's why the friendship is important, and it's a ministry. You know, because when you are a person who's going to have a life of enemies, if you don't have a circle to retreat to, the power is going to really affect you. The power of their words, the power of their accusations. Nobody should prepare to say yes to a calling or a career or a purpose that's going to earn you enemies without friends. Because people that posture themselves, or people that are used by the devil to posture themselves to be antagonists of who you are and antagonists of where you're going, they're not going to be silent. They're going to continue to give you a healthy dose of all of that stuff, right? So because they're going to continue to have their word articulated, forwarded, escalated in your direction to make sure you learn of it or not or whatever, then if you don't have a squad, and if you don't have a community, and if you don't have an assigned, dedicated, defined team in your behalf, the words of your adversary will be more weighty than the words of the ones that have been assigned to you. So that's how you handle it. You can't administrate, and you can't arbitrate, and you can't control. You don't even have the cerebral fortitude or capacity to hold how many opinions people may have about you. You may not even be aware of how many people there are out there that have opinions of you. You may be like, I don't even know you. where you come from? And didn't I just, so you don't even know. So don't stress yourself out with trying to figure that out or investigate that. Like, I know preachers that had several preacher friends, we were having a discussion about this last week, who they go to their YouTube videos, not to watch themselves, but to look at what people comment about what they say. And I told them, they were like, you don't ever do this? I'm like, no. Number one, I'm not a big fan of watching myself preach, and not because I don't think I can preach. I know I'm gifted to preach, but I don't ever want to allow my heart and my cerebral space to be contaminated with what people think about what I'm saying. Unless it's an encouragement, I could care less. And so I don't really be a part of that stuff. So when there are official videos, because there are a lot of unofficial ones out there, I tell my team, restrict the comments. If they got something, an encouragement or testimony, they can email it. But I don't really care to be my personal Google investigator to see what's out there being written and all. Who cares? Who does that? But I'm telling you, I know preachers who invest themselves in learning what people think about them. And then they're like this big hoopla, just monsters in the pulpit. But when they come out, they're like, who liked it, who said what, who thought what preacher looked at my Instagram, or what person, whatever, So don't invest yourself in that stuff. What you need to be more committed to is strengthening your life team. If you don't have a life team, public opinion is going to depress you all the time. They're going to depress you. You can receive healthy criticism from people that are not intimidated by you, that don't wish they were you, that don't have insecurities about all of that, And so the only people that stuff hits are those that are still doing life alone. And there is a very strong possibility that you could be around people in public settings and still be living your life without your life team. You need your life team. You need a pastor. You need mentors. You need friends. You need people that you just talk to, once a week, breakfast once a month, whatever, to do life updates. And you know what's funny to me is when I say stuff like this, people act like this is third heaven, island of Patmos revelation. All I'm telling you to do is be committed to relationships that are committed to you, and keep up with them and be devoted to them, and don't let stupid stuff tear you down, like disagreements on shoes or disagreement. No, just be regular. Like, go out for like me and my friends, we'll do breakfast, even if it's once a month. I don't have a friend that's not busy. All of my personal friends are very busy, but we know that it's a priority. We'll do breakfast, or I'm a FaceTimer, so I'll hit them on FaceTime, and we'll do life updates. And I'm gonna just be very honest with you. I'm gonna be very transparent with you. I got a couple of guys on my team that the minute somebody tells me, oh, I heard this, or somebody said this, or somebody said they're going to send the gangbangers to kill you or whatever, my immediate thought is, while it's here, let me go to the phone or to breakfast with my friends before it gets here. So I'll go out, hey, what's up? Yeah, what's going on? How was service? And then immediately I'll be like, hey, I heard this. What do you think about that? And if my squad gives no validity to it, if my pastor don't agree with it, I could care less what you Keebler elves have to say about what I'm doing and what I'm going, because in the grand scheme of things, your opinion is not necessary for where I'm going and for what I'm doing. So I don't really care. So after you train yourself to do that, you legitimately will not necessarily, you won't be caring after a while, and the words lose less power. But the problem is when you don't address it at the head level and it gets to the heart level, you have actually increased the power of public opinion against you. The way you decrease it is that you stop it when it's here. You put it in the hands of the people in your corner. If they agree, if they don't agree, make your judgment there. But you've got to stop that traffic before it gets to your heart. Because if it gets to your heart, it's going to sculpt your identity. It's going to shake your security. It's going to affect your strength. It's going to depress you. It's going to make you sad. All of that stuff. So you got to be very, 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 very careful with that. As I just said, watch the whole playback to get the full lesson, because it's some profound truth in here. The only people who are grievously affected by negative sayings, public opinions, or accusations are those that don't have a life team. You are in control of the criticisms and the opinions you receive. It is not out of your control. Stop being overwhelmed with the stuff that people are saying, especially if they are non-factors. Assign people to give that stuff to you. Devote yourself to being receptive to people who don't have a problem with talking truths, even if they are hard in your direction. If you don't position them people and develop them life officers around you, you gonna cut yourself. You gonna look at every Facebook status, oh my God, I wonder if this is about me. You gonna look at, who said something on your Instagram, oh my God, I wonder if this is about me. You gonna go to Facebook and, oh my God, you are signing yourself up for a life of Ritalin, or whatever they're giving you all these days, and nervous breakdowns. Fix the problem. Assign your life squad. Have them with you. Talk to them. Open their communication up to you. You open up communication to them. And when somebody says, yo, Linda, somebody said you were Jezebel and a control freak. They've tossed you the opinion. You now have the opinion. You have one option. It's going to hit you here. She said what? But ain't she got halitosis? She got a lot of nerve. Shut up. Blah, blah. But by the time it's there, you got like a day, 1 to 3 days before it gets like right here. So in that 1 to 3 day span, you need to take that and throw it into your team and be like, hey, somebody said I was Jezebel or controlling. What you think about that? And they might either say, you got some control in you. And then you can be like, oh, wow, I didn't know it. Let me fix it. Thank you. Don't ever, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this. Don't ever let your adversaries be the only people talking to you about blind spots. Don't you ever, ever, ever give your adversary the power to be the only ones to talk to you about your blind spots. People that love you should be able to articulate your blind spots. They may see the same things, but it's going to feel a lot differently when it's released or deployed to your life from various sides of the motive spectrum. If their motives are to make you feel less about yourself because they ugly or they don't like themselves or whatever, then they may be saying a truth to you, but it's going to hit you with wrong energy. But when your life team says it, they're going to be saying it to make you evolve, make you mature, make you more sturdy, make you more resilient for what it is that you're supposed to be doing. That is the key to handling the pressure of public opinion. Toss it to your friends, then make your call there. But don't ever commit to researching, evaluating the criticisms, the accusations, the whatever, lies, the whatever. Don't do it. Stop it when it's here by giving it to them. And if they agree, adjust your character. If they disagree, adjust what you listen to. Doesn't matter. You won't be able to stop the opinions of people about you, but you can control how it affects you, and you can control who you hear it from. You can also control a consistent intake of healthy criticism in your direction. This was a lot, man. This is some wisdom. That was a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom was in that. So I really, 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 really hope you got that. A lot of wisdom. Homework, and I've been telling my church this, I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to take it very, 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 very seriously, okay? Reinforce your life squad. If you are in a church, if you are in a fellowship of churches, if you're a pastor, if you're a writer, if you're a business leader, reinforce your life squad. You do need one. If you don't have one, you will be left susceptible, vulnerable to the accusations, the words, the darts, the jealousy of the people against you. Get you a leader. Now, I know you might have peers, but you need an authority figure, because they're not going to look at your life the same way a peer would. They're not going to be as merciful if they're a good leader. Get you a leader. Have a conversation with your leader. Hey, what do you think about this? My character like this? What would you say about this? Do you have a tendency to do this? Get you a leader. Then get you a circle, a healthy one. One's different from you. Some may be similar to you, but one that don't always agree with you, but you got to have friends. People that you can go on a vacation with, take your shoes off and put them in the sand and not worry about speaking in tongues until you get back to your hotel room. Get you people you can vacation with, okay? Get you a squad. If you don't have that, your enemies will overwhelm you. Your enemies will surpass you, and their words will have much more strength in you than you need them to. Man, this is amazing. Go and rewatch this. There's lots of wisdom in this for you, and let it bless you. I hope this helped you. If it didn't, I don't care, but I really do hope it did. Teach yourself to not be affected by that stuff, and teach yourself to value the opinions that matter and immediately abort the ones that don't. I love you guys so much. I wish I could just give you a big Periscope hug. You guys are amazing. And yeah. Wow, I'm waxing prophetic now. Let me get off here. God is doing so much in so many of your lives right now. It's a very ripe season, and the Lord is bringing so much to pass for so many of you. I cannot emphasize enough, while it is important to get your squad together, to settle them, to place them, to fix them firmly in your life, and to get ready for your future. I love you with the love of the Lord. I bid you peace. Find your church. Find your pastor, your bishop, your apostle. Get your mentors. Get your friends. Squad up. Hey, Apostle Yolanda Stith is on here. And she said something when she was preaching for me a while back that's been it's just been on me. And I want you to hear this. I'm going to leave you with this quote. She said this: the strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. Again, the strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. I'm going to just let that hit you. You have got, see, the kingdom is made of families and tribes. When y'all made it about plantations and factories, we lost the essence of destiny. Find your family, find your tribe. Now let's push this thing to the future. All right, God bless you. I'll see you later. Talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.